Firstly, no, this isn't my real hair, but I wish it was. Woo! They're back! I think this is gonna get in the way of the review. This should work. Hey review family, keep it time. My name is MultiSuperVids, and I'm back again to bring you another video, and in this one I'm going to be reviewing the new Bring Me the Horizon album, entitled Ammo. Whether you're into deathcore, metalcore, alternative rock, alternative metal, electronic rock, pop now evidently, you've probably heard the name Bring Me the Horizon. Bring Me the Horizon is a British metal and rock band that was formed in 2004, and counting this one they've released 6 studio-length albums, and pretty much all of them have been different. And before you write me off as being an elitist of the newer stuff or a poser or not hearing it, my favorite album of theirs is There Is a Hell, and I love all of their material and own all of their material from Count Your Blessings all the way up to That's the Spirit. So I feel like if anyone has the right to discuss this album and what it does, it would probably be someone like me. Yeah, it's good. It's pretty good. Thank you all for watching the video. Be sure to leave a like. Nah, I'm just kidding. There's a lot more to it than that. From the start of the publicity of this album, back when there were billboards popping up all over the world saying, do you want to start a cult with me, and having the phone number you could call, and you'd get like a hint of, I believe, was it Mantra? I think it was Mantra was the song that you heard. And ever since Mantra was released and they've done interviews, Ollie and the rest of the band have concluded that this album is weird, it's experimental, it's funky, and it's different. Dark is another good term. So Ammo is a loose concept album about love. It boils down to the term I love in Portuguese as ammo. And to be honest, I can see where that comes from, because almost every single one of these tracks takes on a different feeling of love, which Ollie in an interview actually stated to be the most powerful emotion. Boiling it down, everything comes down to love. Some of the lyrical content is about his divorce, and I feel like this very strong concept propels this album forward in such a way that it's full of emotion and it's full of resonance, even if some of the tracks aren't the best by Bring Me the Horizon standards. I apologize if you feel something is the opener, and I didn't think it was going to have vocals, because I've watched live concerts where they open up with it with just the instrumental. This has such a minimalist electronic synth opening. It is super ominous. It is super foreboding for the opening of the album, with these strange, wobbly, manipulated vocals with backup vocals hanging in the background, with some amazingly beautiful lyrics on this song. The pause before the explosion in the electronic instrumental is so beautiful, and dare I say, this is probably my favorite track on the whole album, ironically. It is so beautiful, super dense, and super atmospheric. And on to Mantra, where I will get probably most of my hate for this review. I feel like Mantra got a little bit repetitive, in my opinion. It was the first single, and that may play into it because I have heard it so much and have listened to it so much, but the chorus, the lyrics, the instrumental, it is quite possibly the heaviest song in terms of the instrumental, but when you boil it down to like the lyrics and the composition and all of that type of stuff, it's not the strongest song compositionally compared to the other ones. It feels stadium size, it feels epic, it feels like the first single, it feels like something that would hype people up and get people excited. But as you dive into the rest of this album, I feel like Mantra doesn't really stand toe-to-toe with some of the other really amazing songs on the album. But that's just my opinion. I know a lot of people dig Mantra, and I can definitely see why. But personally, I probably would be apt to skip it. So I left a comment on Nihilist Blues featuring Grimes and said that it gave me a Doomed vibe off of That's the Spirit, and a lot of people commented and liked that comment because it has a super dense atmosphere to it, very, very dark, very moody. I think that Grimes complements the track perfectly. The production on this track is probably the strangest instrumental, and it's definitely a highlight, but for the length, it's about 5 minutes and 24 seconds if I remember correctly. I don't know if it constitutes the entire runtime, but it still is a pretty good track. It's not necessarily one of my favorites, but I can appreciate the production value on it. In the Dark is probably one of my least favorite tracks. It has this very kind of bare bones minimum pop rock instrumental, but I can compliment how bitter the lyrics are on this track, and Ollie's voice sounding super, super raw. It almost gives me a What You Need vibe off of That's the Spirit, and considering that was one of the tracks that weren't my favorite, like wasn't my favorite off of That's the Spirit, you can understand where I'm coming from, but it wasn't one of my favorites, unfortunately. Ouch is another super atmospheric electronic track sitting at 1 minute and 59 seconds. It's an amazing interlude, kind of like I Apologize If You Feel Something. I absolutely adore the lyricism on this track, despite the fact that it is fairly kind of simplistic. I love the tracks that really delve into some serious atmosphere on this track listing, because I feel like those are the best tracks on the album by my standards. Medicine was one of the singles. It came out with a pretty interesting video, but it's my least favorite track on the album. It is very repetitive after a while, and after quite a few listens, I would be apt to skip it because it is a little bit, I don't know, it's a little bit less than what I might hope to hear from the band, and given a lot of the other album, I'm judging this track and a lot of my other least favorite tracks off of how does this compare to some of the best tracks on the album. And to me, at least, Medicine, I do enjoy the drums on the chorus, I do enjoy the bridge quite a lot on this track, and the lyricism can be praised, but other than that, it's definitely my least favorite track on the album. Sugar, Honey, Ice, and Tea is a really nice track, or Shit, thank you, Vinny. Sounds like the instrumentation from Mantra, but maybe played a little bit faster. Love the dark lyricism on this track. It's super nice percussion and nice guitar. Reminds me a lot of Mantra, but better. I forgot to talk about Wonderful Life, forgot to mention that track featuring Danny Filth. It was another single, and I think that I wish Danny would have really done more for the track, but it is still the heaviest track on the album by far, and I do enjoy the track quite a bit. It's one of my favorite singles. Why You Gotta Kick Me When I'm Down goes into almost like an electronic trap thing, with Ollie somewhat rapping a little bit, or at least fast singing. Some of the higher vocals, especially on the chorus, are downright chilling, and this has one of my favorite choruses on the entire album. Love the dark, moody instrumental. So many dark soundscapes when it comes to electronics and synths on this album. Really enjoy it. Fresh Bruises opens up with some more manipulated vocals, and it has a super bone-chilling atmosphere to it, especially in the instrumental, and despite the kind of simplicity and repetitiveness of the lyrics on this track, I can't deny the sheer denseness and the sheer asphyxiated, like, claustrophobic feeling of this track, which I do really dig a lot. It's beauty matched with bitter anger. It's beautiful, yet it's horrendous. This track really does work out well, and it builds a nice mood throughout the entire thing. Really enjoy it. Mother Tongue is my favorite single from the album. I didn't do a track review because it released so soon to the release of the album that I didn't bother. Love the piano on this track, love the lyricism. It's almost poetic in the way its narrative is delivered. Love Oliver's pitch on this track. He's all over the place with his tone, and it comes out great in my opinion. There's literally nothing I can complain about this track. The drums sound great on the chorus and the bridge. Don't Say You Love Me, Falla Ammo. I mean, that's where the title of the album comes from, Ammo. So, I mean, it obviously it should be good, and it is. I love the rock, piano, and electric crossovers, man. What can I say? Heavy Metal featuring Razzle, the beatboxer and rapper formerly of The Roots. God, this track calls so many people out. This is basically about them changing their sound. And the people that are commenting on this track like, well, this is called heavy metal, but it doesn't sound like heavy metal. There's a reason it doesn't. It's because it's calling out these elitists that are stuck in the past of their sound. I get if you don't like their newer sound, but you don't gotta go commenting on every single song that you don't like their new sound. I'd like to read you guys a lyric. I'm afraid you don't love me anymore, cause some kid on the gram in a Black Dahlia tank said it's not heavy metal. Okay, so a little bit of clarification. The Black Dahlia Murder is a death metal band, and they're basically saying, like, some, like, elitist, like, kid in a band t-shirt is calling them out. Wow. Yeah, there's nothing I can say about this track. I mean, it's true. It's true. The lyricism is true on this track. It's good. Ollie seems genuinely upset and angry at this fan base, and I can understand that. I'd probably be too. I'd be pissed. And just to spite these haters, Ollie gives like a screech and a growl at the end saying, "It's not heavy metal!" Ooh. Yeah, nice touch. I don't know what to say ends the album off on a very interesting note. It's almost 6 minutes in length, has acoustic guitar all over it, an open string instrumental. It's really a great ender to the album, and it's super beautiful. Oliver sounds very vulnerable on this track, and there's some lyrics I'd like to read you from this as well, because some of the lyricism I gotta praise on this album so much. Where do you start when you know it has to end? And also, you said the world's already full enough of defeat of people, and you will not be one. And also, the, well, I don't know what to say in the second verse is so raw. It sounds like the chorus from Doomed, and I love it. Such a beautiful rock instrumental that descends with these gorgeous strings, and the ending for this song where it just kind of fades out with these just beautiful strings, and wow, this really is a beautiful ending to an album that goes through so many changes and so many stylistic differences. For better or for worse, Bring Me the Horizon is embracing a new sound, and to the people that are stuck in the past, know that Bring Me the Horizon has never stuck to one particular sound. They've never stuck to just being deathcore, or metalcore, or alternative metal, or whatever you want to call them, symphonic metalcore, or whatever, and I think that on their next album, they're not even going to sound like this, and this did not let me down. There were some tracks that I did not enjoy, but even the ones that I didn't enjoy as much still had some merit and some beautiful lyricism. I gotta praise the lyricism. The composition and production of these tracks are really good in my opinion, and Oliver's voice sounds better than it really ever has. And while this isn't like balls to the wall metalcore, I don't think it has to be, because they've matured as artists, they've matured as people, and songwriters. The songwriting, if you go back and listen to like Chelsea Smile, God, I mean, come on. So yeah, I'm gonna give this album an 8 out of 10. I really feel good about that score, and is that a wrap? I think that is a baked rap supreme! Have you guys heard this album? If so, what did you think about it? What are your thoughts of this album? Do you think it came out good or bad? I'd love to discuss. If you disagree with my opinion, that's perfectly fine. I respect all opinions when it comes to that, and I really do appreciate it. So yeah, I think that's it. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will talk to you guys next time. But until then, my name is J Morris Review Guy. Hit that notification bell to be notified of future uploads. I'm signing off, saying farewell.